Have you ever imagined a motorcycle that looked like a scooter, yet served in the police force, and where officers didn't salute, but simply nodded? This is the story of the Velocette LE, a small yet daring machine with horizontally opposed twin cylinders, water cooling, and shaft drive, born in post-war England. At a time when roaring engines defined power, the LE chose to whisper, quiet, refined, and unapologetically elegant. It wasn't just transportation, it was a statement. Silence can be strength, but behind that calm hum lies a tale of brilliance and heartbreak, of innovation, failure, and a legacy that refuses to fade. Today, let's travel back to Birmingham in 1948, where a small family company tried to change the world of motorcycles with nothing more than a nodding police bike. To understand why the Velocette LE was so special, we have to turn back time to the early 20th century in Hall Green, Birmingham. There, amid the industrial smoke and the constant ringing of hammers, a small family named Goodman began crafting two-wheeled machines with their own hands. The name Velocette came from the word velocity, meaning speed. But what made them famous was not just speed, it was refinement. While giant manufacturers like Norton and BSA competed for production volume, Velocette chose the path of craftsmanship. Every frame was hand-polished, every engine meticulously balanced. That obsession with perfection led them to glorious victories in the 350cc Grand Prix in 1949 and 1950. Two world titles that made all of Britain proud. During the war, they produced the Velocette MAF, a small yet durable motorcycle that served the British Army on muddy, shell-torn roads. When the war ended, Britain no longer needed just machines of speed, but practical vehicles to rebuild everyday life. And in that moment, Eugene Goodman, son of Velocette's founder, envisioned a completely different path. While many companies chased horsepower, Eugene dreamed of a motorcycle that was friendly, quiet, easy to ride, and didn't require the hands of a seasoned mechanic. He believed motorcycles weren't only for young speed enthusiasts, but also for fathers, mothers, even office workers, people who needed reliability more than raw. Together with two talented engineers, Charles Udall and Phil Irving, Eugene sketched the idea of a motorcycle for everyone. Compact, efficient, leak-free, vibration-free, and quiet. He called it a civilized motorcycle, a gentleman's machine in a noisy mechanical world. At the time, no one could have imagined that this simple philosophy would open one of the most remarkable chapters in the history of British motorcycling. In 1948, from Eugene Goodman's drafting table, a small prototype began to take shape. Instead of using a traditional single-cylinder engine, it featured a water-cooled, horizontally opposed twin cylinder, rare for a small motorcycle. With a displacement of 149 cubic centimeters, 6 horsepower at 5,000 revolutions per minute, and a 3-speed gearbox, the LE could reach 50 miles per hour. But more importantly, it delivered near-perfect smoothness. Its frame and body were made of aluminum alloy, covered in soundproofing materials that reduced vibration to an incredible degree. A shaft drive replaced the chain, ensuring clean, refined operation, perfectly in line with Eugene Goodman's vision of the civilized motorcycle. When Eugene Goodman and his engineering team brought the first LE to the Earl's Court exhibition in 1948, he believed it would be the turning point that would make Velocette the new symbol of Britain. The company's small booth stood modestly among giants like BSA and Norton. Yet Velocette proudly displayed its slogan, "A motorcycle for every man." Amid the muscular heavy motorcycles around it, the LE looked as if it had come from the future. A shining aluminum body, low seat, enclosed panels, and an engine so quiet that people had to lean close to hear it. It was built with meticulous attention to every detail. Lightweight alloy frame, soundproofing materials, even a glove compartment and quick-release pannier racks, features unheard of at the time. However, that silence left the crowd puzzled. Priced at £126, nearly twice the cost of the popular BSA Bantam, the LE was considered too strange, too expensive, and too gentle. People still loved the raw more than the quiet. And though the press praised its bold engineering, sales fell short of Eugene's expectations. The Velocette LE might have been too far ahead of its time. But that failure didn't discourage Goodman, because while the civilian market turned away, a police unit from Hampshire saw in the LE exactly what they needed most: silence. In the narrow post-war streets of Britain, a motorcycle that was quiet, clean, and reliable was far more valuable than sheer speed. Eugene Goodman quickly seized the opportunity. He and his engineers developed a new version, the Velocette LE Mark II, released in 1951. Engine displacement was increased to 192 cubic centimeters. Power rose by 2 horsepower. The clutch, bearings, and rear swing arm were strengthened with aluminum alloys. A new Amal 363 monoblock carburetor gave the bike quicker throttle response, while upgraded brakes and suspension allowed it to carry police equipment safely. But what truly made the LE famous wasn't its engine, it was its ritual. During patrols, officers had to salute superiors by raising a hand. On the LE, that was dangerous, so they agreed to simply nod. From that moment, the nickname the Noddy Bike was born, both affectionate and iconic. Now, on misty London mornings, the quiet image of British policemen riding Velocette LES through cobblestone streets became a symbol of order and peace. Yet for Eugene Goodman, that still wasn't enough. He wanted to perfect his creation, to make it smoother, more comfortable, and more advanced than any motorcycle of its era. And so, in 1958, the Velocette LE Mark III was born. The gearbox was upgraded from 3 to 4 speeds, and the handshifter was replaced by a foot pedal, making operation more natural. The old 5-inch pressed steel wheels gave way to lightweight, durable cast aluminum rims. A larger headlight was integrated into a wider, more ergonomic handlebar, improving comfort and visibility. On police versions, the electrical system was upgraded to 12 volts, allowing installation of 2-way radios, enabling constant communication with command centers and marking the dawn of the smart patrol motorcycle. A larger generator was added to keep the battery charged, even during long hours of radio use. At that time, no other motorcycle in the world offered such smoothness, wind protection, and practicality. The LE Mark III was no longer just a vehicle. It was the ultimate expression of the philosophy that silence is power. But like every beautiful story, the light eventually faded. And in the turbulent 1960s, darkness began to fall over Hall Green. Cheap, powerful, and easy-to-use Japanese motorcycles, Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, offered exactly what riders wanted: speed, comfort, and prices less than half of Velocette's. As a small, family-run company relying on handcrafted production, Velocette simply could not keep up with the pace of industrialization. Even its partnership with the police couldn't save its sales. Despite special contracts, each LE sold barely covered production costs, bringing no profit. Eugene Goodman, who once dreamed of a civilized motorcycle era, now had to watch his life's creation be left behind by a cold, indifferent market. On February 3rd, 1971, Velocette officially closed its doors. The final motorcycle to leave the factory, fittingly, was an LE, as quiet and refined as the very first one. A legend ended not with a roar, but with silence, just as it had lived. In a small garage on the outskirts of Birmingham, under a dim yellow light, one can still find a Velocette LE resting beneath a thick blanket of dust. The silver paint has faded, the chrome has dulled with time, yet every detail, from the exhaust pipe to the handlebars, still carries the elegance of an era when people poured their hearts into every bolt. Today, vintage motorcycle enthusiasts call it the misunderstood genius. Though a commercial failure, the Velocette LE was decades ahead of its time. Shaft drive, water cooling, aluminum alloy frame, and full-body sound insulation, technologies once seen as far-fetched, later became standards for brands like BMW, Honda, and Moto Guzzi. The LE was more than just a motorcycle. It was a philosophy of engineering, focused on quietness, comfort, and humanity. It paved the way for modern touring bikes like the Honda PC 800 Pacific Coast and the BMW R series, machines that inherited the spirit of the civilized motorcycle, graceful yet strong. In Britain, surviving LES are still lovingly restored by members of the Velocette Owners Club. They polish every part, replace every gasket, and straighten every spoke, not for profit, but to preserve the soul of a nearly lost philosophy, to build out of belief, not for money. Perfectly restored examples can fetch several thousand, even over £10,000, especially those once used by British police. Many now reside in museums, while others still ride in classic parades, where the soft murmur of an LE echoes like a greeting from the past. What's remarkable is that despite all modern technology, no manufacturer has ever recreated the Velocette feeling, that unique harmony of silence, precision, and British craftsmanship. Because the LE was never meant to shake the world. It was meant to remind us that in the noisy realm of machines, sometimes the greatest things are born from quietness and devotion. And every time an LE comes to life again, that gentle hum is not just the sound of metal and fuel, it is the heartbeat of a dream that never died. If you ever come across an old Velocette LE in a garage or by the roadside, don't just walk past it. Take a few seconds to stop and listen to the faint vibration of metal beneath the dust, because it's not just a machine, it's the breath of a dream that once challenged the entire world. That motorcycle may not be fast or flashy, but it stands as proof of a time when engineers took pride in every detail and when silence itself could become a symbol of strength. If you love stories about those who dared to go against their time, share your memories in the comments below. And don't forget to hit subscribe, because there are still many forgotten legends waiting to be awakened. Small machines that carry the spirit of a golden age. See you in the next video.